Hi, this is Roger. Thanks for dropping by. All you sciencey, chemistry sort of people, get your thinking caps on. I wouldn't mind a sensible answer to this. It's not the end of the world, but this is the fertilizer I use. That's its makeup, and I'm sure the camera can pick that up. But down the bottom in small writing are the components: boric acid, calcium nitrate, copper sulfate, iron with the letters EDTA after it, magnesium nitrate, manganese sulfate, potassium nitrate, potassium phosphate, sodium molybdate. Oh God, how are you supposed to say that? MOLYBDATE, and zinc sulfate. So that's what's gone into it. Right, that's the easy bit. You might have to replay that now and again. My Vander bucket gets pure RO water put in it, and then it gets the mixed up solution of that added. And last time I refreshed the water, I mixed that up with that fertilizer to get that to 320 parts per million. Yeah? That's about right for Vanders. It could be considered a bit low for Vanders, but that's not the point. The point is that's what happened. Now, due to my neglect and the time of year, that was done nearly 2 weeks ago. Right? And the water level was dropping. Now, that water should have been changed. I know that, but I still want to know what's going on. Okay? So during that period of time, the water had dropped down. So I thought, well, this morning, because I want to get on and water my Vanders, I'll top the water up. Pardon me. So I added about 1.5 inches, I suppose, in that depth of pure RO water. And I thought, well, that will have reduced the strength, and because I like to keep records when I water, I got my TDS meter out, and sure enough, it had dropped down to 310 parts per million. So it had dropped 10 points. That really is not a big deal. But I thought, I wonder what the pH is. How about 7.1? Where the hell has that alkalinity come from? Because by rights, I would expect the pH to lower, because quite a few of the Vanders are in sort of wooden baskets. Well, you know, there could be elements, tannins and various things from the wood that I would expect to drop the pH. But that's, you know, over that period of time, the pH has climbed. Now, can anybody think of a reaction of some sort over time from that fertilizer's makeup that would generate a more alkaline solution? Now, obviously, I need to get on and change the water and start it again, because 2 weeks is far too long, as far as I'm concerned, to keep reusing water. It needs refreshing quicker than that. It's just part of the delay is the bucket's so big now. That's 25 odd litres of water. That's an awful lot of my RO water gone. But I'll just have to get the unit out and make some more. But yeah, have a think. I mean, I don't absolutely have to have an answer, but because I wanted to use that water today, I started adding citric acid to it, you know, to lower the pH back down to where I want it, you know, 6.4, 6.5, something like that, 6.4, 6.5. And I added a fair bit in, and it didn't seem to be making much difference. And I thought, well, I wonder what's going on in that bucket with the chemical elements from the fertilizer over time. Exposed to air, plants getting dunked in and taken out, and this, that and the other. What's happened? The only thing I can think of is the plants have taken elements out of the water through normal absorption at different rates, leaving behind an imbalance of fertilizers. Now that sort of makes sense to me, but that's not science, that's complete guesswork, based on a bit of logic, I suppose. Anyway, have a think. It's not, I don't need an absolute answer, and I don't need a white paper written on it. You know, I've got so much time to read comments, not days and days. Keep it simple, so that little Roger's mind can understand it. Don't get too technical. But just have a think. Do you think My simple answer is that the plants have used up elements of that fertilizer and not used some of the others. And the imbalance that's left has quite dramatically changed the pH. You know, to raise the pH more than 5 points without me adding anything into that is quite dramatic. And now I need to get on and change the water, obviously. You know, I've neglected it nearly a fortnight, you know. I remember once I left it so long it went stagnant. It smelt. But then that had a very weak feed in at that point. That was in the middle of winter. Anyway, some thoughts. Have a think. See what you can come up with. It gets stranger. Because I wanted to use that water today, which I'm now not going to do because I really don't know what's going on in there. I added a fair bit of citric acid into that just to drop the pH for today. That's all I want to do. I agree there's probably an imbalance of the fertilizers in there now. But you add citric acid to the water, it lowers the pH. Yeah? Well, having added a reasonable amount of citric acid, the pH has gone up to 7.6 by adding citric acid. It's doing exactly the opposite of what it should be doing. And whatever it's doing, I don't like, and I'm not going to use it. Now, you shouldn't be reusing water anyway. For goodness sake, don't follow those instructions. You should not reuse water. But I don't get a lot of choice. I work this way. I always have done. But what I haven't had in the past is a giant amount of water, you know, in a Vander bucket that sat there for quite a while. And it is exposed to air. It's not like my stock solution that's sealed in a bottle and kept cool and dark. That's a different thing altogether. But, you know, the water's doing something very strange in there, because as I add citric acid to lower the pH, it's raising it quite dramatically, which means there's something else in there having an effect, or something missing that's making the citric acid back to front. Oh, that's strange. Well, unfortunately, I'm not putting my Vanders in that. So I'm going to change it now because I don't know what's going on. I don't like unknowns. So I'll refresh the water, start again with some fresh fertilizer, and in future I'll keep my eye on what that water's up to. You know, my frequency of watering with the Vanders has gone down now. That was my theory for not changing the water so fast. They've gone from every day to every other day, and 3 consecutive dull days on the trot. They'll go to the 3rd day. So although that water's been there nearly a fortnight, the plants haven't been in it every day. So it's just been sat there doing nothing, basically. Nothing else has got in it. Nothing's fallen in there or anything. It's just the plants getting dunked in there. Some with their wooden baskets, some bare rooted. But that's all that's happened to that water, is the plants have gone in it and come out again. Anyway, that is strange, and I don't like it, and I don't like it enough that the water's going down the sink, and that's probably going to say bye-bye to most of the rest of my RO water to refill it again, because I need to water the Vanders today. And yeah, I'll have to get the RO unit out. You know, that's what it's there for. You know, it's just, you know, just the days are so much shorter now. I end up doing a 2-day thing with it to fill all my bottles again, but I was getting a bit low anyway, so I'll get on with that. But yeah, so we've not only got the explanation of why did the pH climb in the first place, possibly due to nutrients being used up at different rates. That sounds reasonable. But then you add citric acid to lower your pH and it's raised it literally a lot. You know, from 7 to 7.6, that's quite a climb. That's nearly up where my tap water is. Anyway, there's some thinking to do. I think I may have solved my own problem, because basically what I've just said, up to and including this bit, did not sound logical. And my curious mind says, well, what am I using to get these figures? And I've just cleaned this glass and put pure RO water in it. I've stuck my TDS meter in it and it comes out at 9. which is correct. It means the RO unit is still working. But look what the pH meter's reading. That should be 7. So either my pH meter... Oh, fan's just come on. That means it's warm in here. Yay! Either my pH meter needs recalibrating badly, and I've never known my pH meter go off like that before, ever, or it's broken. But there is no way that water has got a pH of 8.9. No way. So the meter is the problem, not the water. Phew. Because that just made no sense at all. I'm still going to post that video because, you know, we get problems sometimes and the solution might not be obvious, but that's this is the problem. It's the meter. As I said, that's now 9. There's no way that water has got a pH of 9. Absolutely no way. You know, it started off as tap water with a pH of about 7.8 and went through an RO unit, which removes the calcium. So, you know, that's why it goes down to 7.0, totally neutral. So the pH meter's up the Swanee. I don't know whether I've got some calibration powders. If I have, I'll try recalibrating it and test again. And if I can't get the thing to settle down and calibrate, then it's the meter. The meter's broken. These things shouldn't break that easily, really. I mean, the little bulb's intact. It's not like, I mean, the last one I had broke because it had a piece of dirt on that delicate little glass bit there, and I tried to rub it off with my finger and stuck my finger through the glass and broke it. So that's why the last one went wrong. But yeah, there's no way that should be reading 8.99. No way at all. And I could see the pH meter rocketing as I was trying to measure the bucket. I'm going to leave it sat in there and see what it does, but it's hovering around 8.9, so it's wrong. It's now 9 again. It's reading wrong and erratically. I suspect the meter is broken. Because even if it needed recalibrating, it wouldn't keep jumping up and down. And I can't believe it would go off by 2 full pH points. Yeah, 9.1 now. It's getting worse. Yeah, I think my meter's up the Swanee, so I'm going to have to guess now. I do need to change that water in the bucket because the pH meter was off. I've added quite a lot of citric acid to try and get the pH down. The true pH of that water is now probably far too low to put my orchids in, and is untrustworthy, so it's going down the sink. But I know that when I start with fresh RO water and I add my fertilizer to the sort of level I want, around 300 parts per million, I know at that point from using this stuff over and over again that the pH in that water will be 6.4, which will do. That'll be fine. So I can remix my bucket safely without a pH meter. I'm just about watering my mounts, and strangely enough the pH meter gave a reasonable reading there. So maybe it literally has just broken. Maybe something on that little glass thing, the membrane's just gone. Maybe some water got up inside it. Let's give it a good shake. So, sorry, the camera's wobbling. No, I now mistrust my pH meter, so I'm not using that until I've run a calibration test on it and see if it will settle down. If it does, great. If it doesn't, in the bin and get another one. All good fun, isn't it? Okay, I think that proves the point. I mixed up one of the buffer powders. Now the only one I had was the one that tests for pH 4. The meter was miles off of 4, so I calibrated it to bang on 4 using that calibration fluid. I mean, that's accurate. I don't ever want my meter to read 4, and I'd have preferred to have used the 6.86 buffer, which you can then set your pH meter to 6.9, and that's plenty good enough, but I haven't got any, so I've used the 4. and that is pure RO water, and I've got a reading on my meter of 5.6. It's miles off, and I've tried rinsing it in the RO water to get off any residue buffer solution, and then refilled this with RO water. The reading's miles off, so the pH meter is not working. So I've ordered a new one. I mean, these things are £6 on eBay. I mean, it could be that the batteries are going and just not giving it enough power to actually read properly, but the cost of replacing the batteries isn't that much hugely different to getting a brand new pH meter, so I've just gone for the new meter. It just makes sense. I mean, the last one didn't last that long, but then for £6 it's done me most of my growing season, you know, so I don't mind replacing it. I mean, this reading is slowly going up, but it isn't really. 5.7. That should be 7. It's a long way off, so I'll condemn the pH meter and calibrate the new one when it arrives, and we'll start again from there, and I'll keep my eye on it. Anyway, problem over. I don't think the problem was the water at all. This is still going up. You know, it's sort of between 5.7, 5.8. I'll leave it for a while, but you know, the dramatic change from the reading of 4 when I put it in the water, it went straight to 5.5, 5.6. And although it's now saying 5.8, I don't believe if I leave that in there an hour it's ever, well, it's up to 6 now. I'll leave, no, it's 5.7. It's not going to get up to 7 in that water, it just isn't. Yeah, it's staying around 5.6, 5.7, so it's miles off. So we'll condemn it and start again when the new one arrives. Problem solved.